Nowadays, we used to hear the word regentification. Us as color folks, we hated that word, right? Because it was our communities that were being taken advantage of. But here's what's happening. Our people that look like us now are the ones that are now acquiring this land, acquiring these properties, and acquiring the equity that's coming along with it. So I'm excited about it. So now it's not as bad as it used to look, because what would happen is people that didn't look like with us come in our communities, buy our communities up, and price us out of the community. Now we've gotten our finances to places which, shout out to President Obama, when he was in, he legalized, it's something basically is a crowdfunding, which allows regular individuals to put $250 in with another 250 people, enough money in order to go out and acquire real estate. Then everybody break it down. Like that was something that we used to couldn't do at one point. You had to make over, you had to net or have $1 million worth of equity or make over $250,000 before, when you couldn't get into these investment transactions like that. So now that has allowed us to be able to come together, crowdfund together, and then go out and do small projects together, and everybody get a piece of the pie. Your piece of the pie add up. Instead, you may be able to put $1,000 in this time. Next time, you 5,000, 10,000. So, those are the things that I see people using their money to work with when it comes to real estate now.
All right, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of the His Healthy Habits podcast. I am Mr. Triple H himself, and today I have a special guest from Houston and a long-term friend and associate who has been the king of consistency. He has many nicknames in the industry, and I'll let him tell more about that. But that man is the infamous Larry Brooks, and he is in one of the best markets, and he is at the top of his game within this market and it's real estate. And I'm looking forward to giving y'all plenty of gems, inspiration, and information. What's good, Larry?
Hey man, I have no problems at all, man. God is good, life is good. Sitting here with a good friend of mine, somebody that I've watched for years do amazing things. So I'm just happy, man. I'm smiling from ear to ear because I'm ready to give people whatever it is that I can. So that's where I'm at in life right now.
Let's tell the people who you are, for the ones who are watching this who don't know.
No problem. So I am Larry W. Brooks, a.k.a. the Texas Real Estate King. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 25 plus years. If my grandmother told a story many years before that. So just having an opportunity. Now I have a real estate brokerage firm, one of the largest minority-owned brokerage firms in Texas. We currently have about 80 agents that we teach and coach and train how to do real estate. I am a partner in the T-shirt brand, clothing brand, the Pure Hustle brand that you see with me on. I am a full-time author. So I've authored several books just about my journey through entrepreneurship, real estate, and just how other people can go out there and get it. I am the founder of a nonprofit. It's called A Grandparent's Love. Because I was reared by my grandmother, it gave me an opportunity to want to pour back into others and to help raise funds in order to help grandparents that are raising their grandchildren. So just a little bit about me, man, but I'm here today just to kind of help where I can help.
Man, Larry, everything you just laid out there, I said I got questions, and I want to inspire somebody else who may want to follow in the footsteps of Larry.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to just inspire them. I want to provide the information and also the struggles and the successes.
No doubt about it.
A lot of people, I tell people do the social media. They'll go and see the successes of a certain entrepreneur, business owner, or just anybody who has any certain level of success. But they don't know about the struggles.
That's right.
Because they're seeing clips and tidbits and pieces, of the success story, man. So let's talk about, like, currently where you are right now.
Okay.
Within your business, man. You said you had several businesses, several actually established entities, but let's talk about the foundation of real estate and just where you are right now and how things are going.
No doubt about it. That's my baby. So real estate was the thing that kind of got me going. It helped build me into the person and the characters that I needed to build out the other businesses. But right now in real estate, myself and Davis, which is the Davis and Brooks and Davis real estate firm, we're currently teaching and coaching 80 other realtors to go out and kind of duplicate ourselves. So we've been very profitable and very successful over the last, me and Mike have been together the last 14 years. And we've just been really gaining our successes through the industry. So I remember I always tell people, when I first got into real estate, I didn't see very many people that looked like me. And so the one thing that I wanted to do was bring more people that look like us into this industry. Because I would go into a room of realtors, there'll be 400 realtors and maybe 4 or 5 African Americans or minorities in that room. So, you know, I'm here to sit here and be honored today to say that there's tons of new real estate brokerage firms that look like us. I was just reading an article of a gentleman out of Atlanta that's growing his team. He has over 270 realtors, and so I'm just excited when I see that. I'm excited because, you know, when you was on the front line and people didn't trust you because of the way that you looked, it felt uncomfortable. Now that there's so many other people that look like me that's actually in a place where they financially can get real estate or acquire real estate or build out a brand, you know, now it's a smiling moment, right?
Did you, looking back from where you started, did you think you would be here where you're at now?
Yeah, I always knew I was gonna be a winner.
Okay,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
Yeah,
but the thing is, you know what I mean? So I come from very humble beginnings. Like I said, I was raised by my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? We ate syrup sandwiches growing up. So my struggle was different. I was already at the bottom, so I ain't had no choice but to go up. You know what I mean? And seeing her plant the seeds as a young entrepreneur, because my grandmother was a cool cup lady in the community, right? So you know, the sweep shop, the place where you come. Oh, that was it. So you know, so I saw my grandmother going to work, coming home cooking dinner, hustling candy at the door when people would come, selling pickles, all of that stuff, to where when it was just a part of my DNA that once I start to find my stride and identify what it is I need to do, I mean, I don't care if I was selling candy, I was going to be good at what it is. So where I'm at now was just a product of the hustle, right? It was the product of never giving up. Because if you ever bump into somebody that knew me when I left Jones High School and went to Stephen F. Austin University, they would tell you that guy was a hustler from the time that he walked on the yard. I sold candy. I threw parties, like anything that was going to be an opportunity to gain knowledge from others and build out a brand. I was doing it at that age. So
it's interesting you say that. You know, you saying like hustles in the bloodline, because I see that with several entrepreneurs who are successful. It's like, you have that one entity that you like, the foundation, like your baby is real estate. Yeah. But it's like you don't totally conquer, but you get to a level like you're doing really well. Yeah. And you achieve the goals you did. And it's like, all right, now let's do this. And it's not like you're just going and starting just to do. It's true. They're usually like things that you're invested in, you're passionate about. And I heard you saying that from the nonprofit to the apparel line and more. Like, but let me ask you this: do you think like that's a character trait, or do you think that's something that's developed within a person?
I think it's a development, right? And for me, it wasn't even my first vision, right? So I was in real estate. When I was getting into real estate, one thing that I noticed is there was a gentleman, everyone knows Master P, right? One thing that I saw Master P do, Master P loved basketball, but he was a very good mogul when it came to music. So what he did is he built out his music brand, and then he went to the NBA, right? I'm like, oh, right. Let me focus on one thing, because at this time I'm scatterbrained. I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, and I'm like, you know what? Let me focus on this one thing that's gonna give me a large enough income to be my foundation of a vehicle that can allow me to do all the other things that I desire to one day do. And watching Master P build out his record company and then get into the NBA, I was like, that's ideal. And then one of the things that happened for me is I had people around me that had saw me hustling or saw me doing my business in such a way or getting at it to where when they see me hit different levels, like when I wrote my very first book, a friend of mine that knew me from college said, hey man, you know, you're building out a brand. Other people need to know what motivates you, what's keeping you going. So the first book that he helped me produce was Entrepreneur Quotes. So but it was a friend that saw me getting at it in real estate in the entrepreneur space and was like, you need to let other people know, you know, the mindset that it takes to get there. So
what year was it that you did that first book?
The first book was 2017. 2017. Yeah, man. I'm shout out to Darren Palmer and self-publishing 30 Days, man. I've done 3 books to them since that particular deal. Yeah.
That's dope. Y'all see, y'all make sure to check out the book if y'all see it on here. We'll make sure to post a link to it. So let me ask you this, like, when did you make that initial decision that you was like, man, this real estate thing is cool, or this looks interesting. Yeah. I'm gonna try this out.
Yeah. I think it was so everything now, and you'll see everything that I do now have partnerships and teams that go along with it. And so I think after me and Davis, which is the Davis and Brooks and Davis, when we got to a level of our growth where we were able to bring on staff We were able to get a team together. So a large part of my business is I don't do the day-to-day, the in and out of showing people properties, listing properties. I have a team that does that for me now. So before I was able to explode into other areas of entrepreneurship, I had to build a team around me that I trusted and that could go out and do the business. See, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we just jump into something else and we haven't established a relationship or a team to make sure that our bills continue to get paid. So, in the real estate space, I built out a team. So my income, it didn't change the way that it would do if I just walked away from the business or if I tried to focus 100% on something else. So real estate taught me that it's okay to have partnerships. It's okay to build a brand with someone else and split those responsibilities. And so as an independent realtor, did I do amazing? Yeah, I was knocking out the ballpark, but I didn't have no time. Right? I was telling some of my newer agents that we were having a coaching call that I used to have a walk around Vegas. If I did take a vacation, I had to walk around Vegas with a backpack. And at any time somebody could have called me and asked about a file. I had to stop what I'm doing, go into my backpack, read off this file to answer questions. And so that wasn't ideal for me at the time. And so once I built out a team, I could disappear for a week, 2 weeks, and my business continued to flow. I was telling the members the other day, my partner Michael, he literally just went to not Atlanta. He went to LA for a seminar on coaching experiences, right? And he was gone for 3 weeks. Our business stayed consistent and did not miss a beat, right? So
let me ask you. So what do you think are the key things to building a stable, successful team? According to Larry, like what do you from what you learned? Because I know building a team is not easy.
It is not easy.
Every single person ain't gonna be the right person.
No doubt about it.
So what have you learned like when it comes to building a successful team?
It is trial and error and putting people in their strengths, right? So for me, a lot of times we'll meet somebody, we'll be like, oh, they in sales, they're gonna be amazing at doing this, but they may not want to be they may not want to go out and create new business. So for me, one of the things that we were able to do is identifying what people's strengths were. Me, for example, I don't mind going out talking, building relationships, whatever it is that I need to do. Well, my business partner, Michael, that wasn't his thing. He was an engineer by trade, graduated from Prairie View. So he was behind the scenes. He could write the systems like, okay, let's do this. This is how we can do that. So what you do is, I think the first thing is identifying people's strengths and where they need to be in your business. So one of our very first buyer's agents that allowed me to get more time freedom was she did not like going out and networking and shaking hands and kissing babies, as you call it. But she would go show a property, get a contract. Show a property, get a contract. That was her flow. She didn't even want to have business cards. She was just like, I don't want to network with nobody. That wasn't her strength. Matter of fact, she wasn't even producing when she was in her own lane doing that by herself. But once we added her to the team, we were like, okay, we'll create the leads. You just do what you're good at, which is closing deals. And so for me, that was one of the very first steps that allowed us to get more time freedom.
Let me ask you this: when you have your team, I've heard this quote, and I want to see if you align with it or not. They say, "Hire slow, fire fast." How do you feel about that?
I agree with it, and here's why: because I've had to fire people before, right? So these, when in 20 years of entrepreneurship journey, you have to find a way to get rid of people, because the thing is, a bad apple will spoil a whole bunch. And so when that quote, or I think the foundation of that quote is, because what'll happen is they'll start chit chatting and they'll start to corrupt the rest of the people. So yes. Hire slow. And when I say hire slow, like literally now we have systems. It's like a 75-point system thing that we put in place that literally goes through, asks questions, really probe a person's mind, see how they're going to respond, right? And so
it's not just about the degree or
oh no, it ain't about none. It's not about none of that. Like you can come in with none of those things. You could have never, I look for completions, right? I look for one of the things that I was able to identify. I could care less if you finished college or if you finished. If something went wrong, you didn't finish high school. Did you finish where you got your GED at though? Like I watch for finishing things, because in real estate, finishing is important because you're gonna start with somebody, you're gonna get discouraged, they're gonna get discouraged. You've got to be able to still get them to the finish line, because in real estate, you get paid when the deal closes. In entrepreneurship, you get paid when someone is satisfied and happy. You don't just automatically receive a check, right? True. And so, yes, I believe in that now for sure. In the past, when I was new to it, I was hesitant. I was scared. I was like, man, they know everything. But okay, They ain't coming in. They didn't come in, and they baby done been 6-7 days in a row. Well, my business stops when my front office can't come into the office at that time. Like now, it's we got home stuff, so it's easy and flexible. But in the beginning of this business, you needed them there to answer the phones, and if the baby's sick for 10 days, my business stuck for 10 days, right? Like it just changes the industry for me.
And I ask that because it's a lot of I see information and inspiration for, I call them like the idealistic entrepreneurs. They know they have the ideal that they want to be an entrepreneur, but you don't hear a lot of information and tips from entrepreneurs. Like people like us who've been entrepreneurs for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I think that information is just as valuable as you see the people who are just thinking or wanting to become, because we need to know that we're not alone in certain things like that. Like, what you just talked about,
no doubt,
when it comes to like a 75-point interview process for a team. Like, the average person as a small business entrepreneur, you give them one question, hey, what you doing? You're like, no, I bet you are.
You're available, And that's just not it. Like, have I done it? Yes, I have. They said all these amazing things, and then I hire them on, and then I got to get rid of them in 3 weeks because the one thing that they left off is that they got a boyfriend that they love, but at nighttime he keeps them up, so they late for work every day. Or they come in because or they have a girlfriend that done stressed them out all weekend, and now they come to work and they can't even focus on the ideal thing. These are things like now I get to the point to where I'm interviewing you, and if you have a spouse, I want your spouse to be there as well. I need everybody to be equally yoked when it comes to the way that I want my business to work, because I'm gonna compensate you to a point to where you're gonna be happy and they're gonna be happy, but I need for us to be on the same page. But it was learning hurdles. So now I'm interviewing everybody. Nobody, you got kids. How old are your kids? How do your kids perform in school? The reason why I ask those questions is because that's gonna layer how stressful you're gonna be when you come in to perform your actions or your duties.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, like, when we get into starting a business, we don't think that far or deep into it, or think it's that deep in general. So cause it seems like something so simple. It's like, man, it's a team. It's millions of people in the world. I can hire. It's got to be somebody to know. It's honestly that important.
It's that important.
But all right, I know I could talk about teams forever. Man, I just want to let's talk about you. Like when you first, like I said, going back to the ideal. Like, do you think now? Because from my general perspective, I look and see, especially with social media and now real estate. Like you said, you've been in the game for a minute, and I know back then you said it was 4 black people in a room of 400 real estate agents, but now you've seen it more glamorized on the minority side of like being black people. Like I see more black real estate agents, and I see it from a lifestyle perspective. They're showing the glitz and glamour of when you do become, Mr. such and such and such, or Mrs. such and such real estate, and it just seems glamorous and it seems amazing. But to me, the average person, I think, okay, well, wait, that kind of seems unattainable, because what do I have to do between the idea of me thinking and starting that I want to get in the real estate game to being where you're at, where you driving Bentleys and you staying in mansions because you just sold a $20 million house, which I have no idea about what goes behind that. So from like your experience, like Larry, because I think you have definitely stayed super humble in your journey and your success. What does it take for that person to first? What's the first step for whether it's like an adult who may want to be switching jobs, get a second stream of income, or to maybe a teenager who wants to start their career early and learn about it? Like, what's that first step to you?
It's a great question, and Reg, I take it on quite often because I go and I speak to Champion School of Real Estate students. Every week I go and speak with them, and the one thing that I give them is consistency. In any industry, anything that you're building out, anything that you see that you want long term in, it's got to be some type of consistency in it, and it's the faith of a mustard seed, right? They say that the mustard seed, you can barely even see it, you can't even see it, but it's the faith of a mustard seed, meaning that you're gonna put in work today that you may not see the fruits of for 4 months, or you might not see the fruits of for 3 months, but you're planning and you're doing the consistency. It's kind of like, training. Like I've always tried to keep my body in shape. Where in the beginning of my journey, I'm not seeing the results in 2 days. I'm feeling how I need to feel, but I'm not seeing the results. So it's one of those things that we start to build out the process, even in that space of entrepreneurship. You have got to be consistent. That's step number one. Once you've identified consistency, you got to put the play together. You got to know what you need to do every single day. And don't cheat yourself. I like to tell, if you're transferring from another career, don't cheat yourself. If you was getting that man 12 hours a day of your life, including commuting, get up every morning and give your own self 12 hours a day. Be consistent on beating up the block when it comes to your business. Don't think nothing is too small. One of the things about me and my businesses, everything that I do or I've done it. Like I've walked around and passed out 5,000 flyers in a month to make sure people knew who I was. Like I've dropped them here and I've done guerrilla marketing. Like I'm taking the phone calls. I've done media tours where I've had to travel from podcast to podcast to build out my brand and stuff like that. So I'm not asking anybody or teaching anybody to do something that I have not done. So I think the first step though is consistency.
Do you think the game has kind of changed? Is it easier now to get into the industry for like a young black minority, male or female?
Yeah, it is easier. And here's why it's easier, because now you can see it. When I got into it, I didn't have anybody to look at and be like, oh, I could be like them. Everybody that looked like me that was in real estate, they were already beasts. They was your Gerald Womack's, right? And then I didn't learn his story until he became a friend of mine after I became successful in the industry, right? So the Gerald Womack's, the George Johnsons, these are people that were already doing amazing. Outside of the real estate industry, there was a space, but I didn't see them. Like they weren't accessible. They weren't accessible. So now I think that most people are able to get into this industry because you got things that YouTube University where people can see it more. You have people like myself that don't mind posting and telling the stories and talking more about it. And in other brokerage firms that's doing it. So now it's a lot more accessible because you can see it. When I was a kid, I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, I didn't even know a realtor exists. I didn't become exposed to real estate until I was in college. A friend of mine's parents, his sister's husband owned a mortgage company. So I would go there for like the winter terms and when you get the little college breaks, and they allowed me to get a job. I was doing this processing work as a loan officer. And one day he was like, hey, we getting ready to go to lunch. So we went to lunch and he took out these realtors. And there was a few black realtors. They had nice cars and dressed nice. I was like, what do they do? And understood what it is that they do, and that became my assignment. And 20 some odd years later, I'm doing what they was doing.
Great man.
But I didn't see it. You know what I mean? Like people didn't come into the school for career day and talk about being a realtor. Real estate had always been a second career for most people. When I got in, the average age of a realtor was 58 years old, Caucasian. That was what it looked like. So
what's the difference between? And I asked you this from a knowledge-based perspective. I wish I had asked my father back then, but when I was younger, I didn't even think about these ideals. What's the difference between like somebody who's a realtor, an appraiser, and a broker, if there's a difference at all? Like I hear the names, but I ain't gonna lie. We sometimes the people we hear broker for, but we don't honestly don't know the difference between what the broker or maybe there's a difference between a realtor or appraiser firm. Like what are those differences? Like,
it is a difference. So I'll start with the appraiser aspect of it. The appraiser is just the person that gives the value of the property. Are they in the real estate space? They are, but they really don't have a lot to do with the buying and selling of real estate. They're just someone that's in an amazing lane. And right now, if you're looking for another occupation, I would say an appraiser is a great way to go because there's not enough of them. And so basically appraiser is the person that just kind of go by the property and gives it a value. They use comps that we use as realtors, very similar. Now, one thing that gets challenging for most people when they're trying to take this in is real estate broker, realtor. So a realtor, when you first get licensed, you have to hold your license with a real estate broker. So it has to be somebody that has, I keep it simple. They've went and gotten a master's degree or a doctorate in real estate. And so you're a freshman coming in and you have to be with that university. So it's a I've used so many different terms.
The brokers.
Realtor is going to be up under the broker. So everything, all the checks are always going to be cut in the broker's name. So I mean,
levels.
It's levels to it.
It's levels. Pretty much at the base level.
Yeah. Well, appraiser and real estate broker they're not in the same category. Yeah. So you got loan officers. The appraiser is just one of the key figures in a real estate transaction. But they real estate broker, realtor, appraiser, not in the same category.
If knowing what you know now, your advice, if somebody was trying to do this part time, and from a kind of unbiased perspective, and somebody maybe wanted to dedicate 2 to 3 hours every other day of the week, would you recommend that be an appraiser, a realtor, or go for where you at?
Oh man, that is so mine took stages to get to, right? So for mine, if they become a realtor, it's obtainable. I would say if they love working with people, they want a change of environment every day, you become a realtor. If you don't really like people, but you want to make some money, become an appraiser or an inspector, right? Most inspectors, most appraisers, they're not really people. I mean, they're not really people. They're not really people friendly. Like they just like to go do their work and then disappear, right?
So being a realtor, you think you do have to have be personable to a certain extent?
Oh yeah, because you're not selling houses, you're selling your personality. People not doing business with you because they think you're gonna give them an amazing house deal. They're doing business with you because they like you as a person.
So we got somebody like Jazz. She'd be a great realtor.
Oh yeah, it'd be amazing. I've watched Jazz on social media. It would be an opportunity. And it would be easy for her because people pour into and they want to see you be successful in this industry. But they need to. You've got to have a personality to be into it, right?
So like me, I call myself an intro extrovert. Like, what about for those people like you? You're an introvert by nature. You know, you can come out your pocket when you need to, but you're not like the socialite. You're not.
I'm that too, though. I'm not. Really. Most people when they meet me, they're like, no way. When the lights come on, I'm ready. I'm got the energy up for you. But at nighttime, I am exhausted. Today, I'll be super exhausted when I get home, right? But I know how to perform when the lights come on. I know. So for a lot of us, that's all you really need. You need to be knowledgeable about what it is you do, and when the lights come on, be ready to perform and give the energy that you need to. But I am not a person that really likes it. I just do it because I'm very good at it. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what's the investment for somebody initially just trying to get into the game?
Just getting in as a licensed realtor, I want to say it's about $695 for all 4 classes, 4 to 5 classes that you have to take right now. But do I think it's a value in it? I think it is. I think that to get licensed, to become in an entrepreneur space where you have no cap, right? As a realtor, you can make $100,000 a year. You can make $20,000 a year. I know people. Most people in this industry make 20 because they don't put in the extra work. You can make $20,000 a year, or you can put 12 hours a day in this industry and make $200,000, $300,000 a year. Yeah, and then once you build out a system, you got referrals coming in. So I do think that it's a value to become a licensee, a licensed realtor.
And that's what you do, right?
That's what I do.
That's what you do. So how do you get basically, if this makes sense, like the credentials to get at somebody, for them to be able to become, like, I'm pretty sure you have to go through is there like some umbrella
for someone to get licensed?
Not
like really.
You have to go through to like make sure they stay certified, or is it just directly through you, just your knowledge or materials?
So it kind of, so the way that it, and I love these questions because these are really consumer questions because people just don't know, right? So one of the things that you're going to do in real estate, when you turn the age of 18, you're able to go and get a certificate. So one of my favorite schools, and there's tons of them, they're online everywhere, but one of my favorite schools is Champion School of Real Estate because a lot of the students that go through that program, they have like a 98, 97% pass ratio of the national exam. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to interview or you're going to choose a school to go to. And it can be done online as well. So it's not something you have to go physically. I like physical because then you get to hear all the amazing questions that other people may have about the industry. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find the school that you're going to go to. And you're going to give them that money in order to take those classes. Now, usually the classes like contract classes, just things that you're going to need to know so that you are not doing anything illegal when it comes out there in the field. It's not going to teach you much about what we do every day, but it'll give you the basics on how to not commit a crime while you're selling real estate. And so you'll go through that coursework. Now, as you go through there, there's like little small mini tests that you'll take and during the coursework, in which the coursework is at the speed of the individual. So you can get licensed in 30 days or it can take you 3 years. It just depends on your process. But you can get licensed in 30 days. Let's just hypothetically say we're using somebody that gets licensed in 30 days. So once you get licensed in 30 days, your opportunity is to interview brokers. I'm a broker. So you're going to sit down with me. You may sit down with other professionals in the group, like the Braden group.
The potential realtor interviews the broker.
Yes. And I'm interviewing, in my case, I interview them as well because I don't need no clown in my broker's firm. Just facts, right? I don't need no bad energy. If you don't have the right kind of foundation behind you, I'm going to be able to tell because I got to put you with my mentors. I got to put you with my coaches. And so I don't want them to be overly stressed by somebody that may be like super negative. You've seen this on HGTV and you feel like, oh, I can do that. That HGTV is fake.
Yeah.
You know, some of these people are licensed, but it's a script behind that, right? I met some of the guys that weren't even licensed when they first started attempting to sell houses. They built them out a whole platform. So I just say that to say it ain't always real, right? Or it doesn't play out the way that we see it sometimes. So not to say that it's not real. And then so once you've gotten licensed or you've interviewed with brokers, so it might be myself, it might be the Braden Group, maybe a Keller Williams or somewhere in there. You interview a few brokers and you choose one that you think is going to fit you, meaning that you know they're going to be either if you're a person that can't learn on your own and you need somebody that's going to mentor you, coach you on how to do the right steps and how to go out and get business, then that's how you choose the broker that you're going to go with. You choose the broker, now you start to tell people that you're in the industry. B, you're starting to learn. You're going to the classes that your broker may be hosting. And these classes are actually the everyday processes of what we do. Teaching you how to make your phone calls, your cold calls, or whatever you may want to call
So
them.
they're Larry Brooks way.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
has their own way. So they're learning your way.
They're gonna learn my way because I want them to. I want them to have the DNA that has allowed me to be an entrepreneur for 25 plus years, right? Like I want you to get in this industry, and if you choose to go back and get an occupation, that's cool. But if you choose for real estate to be your end all and be all, I want you to be hitting it out the ballpark and eating, being able to feed your family, go on vacation as often as you choose to. And so, yeah, I'm gonna teach you my way.
What has been like the success rate for you? Like you said, maybe 1 out of 2, 1 out of 4, every 1 for 1 since you started your brokerage school.
Everyone's journey is different, right? So I have people that literally got into the industry and they just want to do a deal a month. I have people that have gotten into the industry because they may love their full-time job. Their full-time job may be flight attendant. Their full-time job may be a principal. So they just want to get in and make a little extra money for extra vacations. So those people, 100%, you can't go wrong with that. I've had people that have gotten into real estate to be amazing salespersons, but it hasn't been a fit for them. So if I had to put a number on our gauge, we're probably at a 90% rate when it comes to people hitting their mark, being what they want to be, and being successful in it. You know, everyone doesn't fit. Some people come, they stay with the brokerage firm 2 years, and the math doesn't work out for them because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So now I think more people are successful at real estate because they're able to see it and you're able to touch the people, right? Like you come into my office and you want to see numbers. We got spreadsheets that's going to show you real life numbers of success stories, right? Like not just what you may see me post on social media. And I post a little bit when it comes to that, but I do kind of like my comfort of not knowing everything about my status, I guess.
And I think that's one thing too, you know, I've learned, I know you know too, like from an inspirational side or like a motivational side to get into this particular industry or niche or market, that some people, like, you know, they're inspired just by the journey, the achieving the full-time entrepreneur status, you know, and knowing like, okay, one day I could be like maybe Larry, you know, and be 20 years in the game and be stable and successful. But the other side of the people do want to know numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like you talk about the math. Like I know for sure, like, you know, when you got some people like, I hear some realtors, they, like you said, they may make $2,000 or $200 a month. You got some up, I don't even know. So let me ask you this: like, on average, the average part-time realtor, what do you think they could do, like numbers wise, math, if like based off the consistency and efforts you think they should put in?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, and here's why it's tough, right? It's only tough because it really depends on the person. In their family setup, right? Like if you get into real estate part-time, being a part-time realtor is very difficult, especially if you have like a family. You know, if you have a family, it's virtually impossible unless you got like a support staff that's crazy. So I would say a part-time realtor, get into this industry. Part-time realtor, not taking it serious, not busting their, not getting up and like not spending all the extra hours. So if I get up and I got a 12-hour job, when I'm not on my 12-hour job, I'm finding 6 hours to do real estate a day, or a week, my whole weekends, my afternoons are spent on real estate. Not that person. That person can still make about $20,000 to $30,000 a year. But that person that's doing it part-time, I mean, most maybe 10,000, 12,000. Like it's a low ceiling because unless you take it serious, you know, because it's still sales, right? It's selling, but you still got to sell yourself, and you still got to identify the times that you're going to do it. You know, one of the things when I first got into the industry that people laugh about now, is I was always out. Like I networked 6 days a week, 7 including church, right? Because I needed everyone to know what it is that I did.
Yeah.
And once I got to the point to where I didn't have to introduce myself when I walk into a room about real estate, that's when everything was got knocked out the ballpark. Like it was easy. Referrals rolled in, hands over fists. But you have got to take the time to do it. So I think now on the low scale, and again, I maybe nowadays, we got more investors that are doing the business too, or investment pieces to this industry. So maybe even those people that are not doing it, knocking it out the ballpark by themselves, they may make $20,000 a year, but it still is a low balance.
What do you think? What's the maybe for you? You don't have to be for you, but maybe anybody under you, somebody you know. Maybe let's go minority, like black person that you've seen the most they made in a year.
I got some team members making over $300,000 that they taking home, like not just out for sales, but like $300,000 they taking home.
Net, you mean like net? For the year?
Net. Now, because the way our business works, that ain't what net gonna look like. You're gonna still get tapped. So they still gonna get hit their 15 to 33%, depending on how they got set up. But I know people that are taking home over 300. I had an agent that recently just started home brokerage firm, made almost 5.
So they started under you, like
they were under me. They were under my brokerage firm.
And then so now it's another brokerage firm under the umbrella Larry and Brooks.
We do. So it wouldn't be it would be considered a team. If they're up under me, they're considered a team and not a brokerage firm.
Okay.
But really, the math and the layout looks the same. They just have they just participate in my coaching programs and things like that. And they're able to build a team up under me, so they kind of building their own company. They're just not ready to take on more of the heavy responsibility, like bills and payroll and stuff like that.
So when you see like now these reels, and I love you, I'm pretty sure you've seen them plenty of times. The reels with like the beautiful $1 million houses, and they got the drone flying through it, and of course they'll say this is a $1.5 million house in Conroe or whatever. Like, what is like is that the norm for a normal realtor coming in, like their first 1 to 5 years? Or?
Nah, that ain't even the norm for seasoned realtors, right? So there's this thing in real estate, and this is sometimes your marketing means a lot, right? And you got to build up to where you got enough marketing dollars. A lot of the people that you see these $1 million, these $5-6 million homes, they may come from that culture, meaning that their dad or mom was a high producing attorney, or a high producing doctor, a high producing city employee, someone that's already in that circle. These are your Bill Gates families. These are your Donald Trump families, right? Because you think about people like him, for example, that got into the real estate industry. His dad was doing it. When he got started in business, his dad gave him a $10 million loan. So you can make that kind of footage and be that type of realtor in that space. But chances are your circle of influence has got to look like that. And so one of the things, I got a buddy of mine that does this is Jay. Jay is amazing at doing those high-end deals, but his circle of influence looks like that. He spends his times at your Steak 48. So he spends his times at your Maestros. And so when he's hanging out at the bar, he's hanging out at the bar with people that are spending $75 on a piece of meat, right? So, you got it. So is it doable? It's doable. But a lot of times your circle of influence has got to look like that. You can't feel like you're going to be hanging out at I love Carol's, by the way. You can't be hanging out at Carol's feeling like you're gonna be spending that kind of, you gotta really hang out at those spaces. Like you're gonna spend money in order to make. That's one of those, you're gonna spend money to make money. So your gym, you may do I always laugh about this when I tell people because they don't believe me, but you may do a sauna every week. One of those women do them a lot. Well, everyone does them. Your fitness where you're taking care of your body with the sauna, your nails, and all that. You may do that every week where you're spending $1,000 at the Houstonian. But guess who you're gonna be around at the Houstonian when you're doing it?
True.
The people that can buy those $5-6 million homes.
Putting yourself in that correct room.
Yeah. So that's where you got to spend your time at if that's what you want.
That's interesting. Because I think for me, like, I have friends who are in the real estate industry, and I see people on social media, and it can be glamorous. It's being glamorized to a certain extent. It makes a lot of people interested. Or makes them wonder, oh, could I do this? So, like, you see somebody, let's just throw a flat number. Like, somebody sells $1 million house. What's the average, like, I guess, profit that realtor would make, like, in general, maybe, like, roundabout?
So here's the thing. Most of the realtors that are selling multi-million-dollar homes, they may only do 5 a year. So they're not even doing like the kind of volume you would do on a smaller scale, but you're making $30,000 to $50,000 or almost $100,000 on that transaction, right? Because we get paid anywhere from 3% to 6% on a transaction. So you make $100,000 off of a deal. I mean, you're not rushing out to do it all over again. And I mean, we still got to remember, one of the things that we have here, we have a lot of commercial buildings. We have churches, and these are buildings that pay that type of money, right? Now, the one thing that those type of agents that I've learned is when I have agents that have closed deals like that, when I've had agents that have closed transactions like that, is keeping them motivated to say, hey, look, you just got this $250,000 check. Let's not take our feet off the gas, because that'll happen. Like, you'll get a check. I mean, you get $100,000 check, man. Some people don't make that in 2 years, right? You know, we was lucky enough. I remember as we was going through the process, and we were able to help James Harden acquire 13, that the bar hookah lounge and club that they have. Yeah, that was my broker's friend. Shout out Polo, you know what I mean? But with that being said, I just remember just saying, hey, we can't take our feet off the pedal. Like, these are opportunities that now allow you to market into that industry and that circle of influence.
You know, let's stay on that path right there, because I like to hear when I bring the people on there. You kind of got to toot your own horn and let people know what you do. What's probably like one or two of the biggest things you probably proud of that you've done, like outside of like the philanthropy, like more so from the profit side, like that Larry has done like in his career, like you like, man, I did this, bro.
Man,
and don't be humble on this.
I don't, you know, it's hard. That's hard for me to answer because you know the thing is that coming from where I come from, you know, the oohs and the ahs of wanting to do something amazing is important, right? Man, I don't know. That's a good question. You know, the thing is that I'm just blessed to have a brokerage firm that has been successful in this industry and been front line, right? You run our numbers against anybody that doesn't even look like me in this business. We done made money, right? And I think that I guess if I had to say something to toot my horn, the ability to build partnerships, because partnerships aren't easy, right? The ability to build a partnership that me and Davis has built, the trust that we've built with our brokerage firm, to where if he wants to go on vacation with his family and his kids and be gone 2 weeks, I'm not stressing thinking, man, I'm working harder than he is, right? Like that thing, partnership, being able to build a strong partnership is important to me. So I would say that thing stands out.
That's what I was actually like, why did you choose doing a partnership versus doing it you as an individual? Because you could have held it down on your own, probably, right? Yeah,
it's crazy because I was, right? And so this is how me and Michael ended up getting together. Just a real quick snippet. Knew Michael when he first got into the real estate industry. Back in the days, they would do, title companies would host events all the time where realtors came together and networked. And one day, me and Mike met. We got introduced by a mutual friend that I used to throw parties with, and that was his best friend. And so Mike had just got into the real estate industry, but he had a ton of listings for a young cat. Like, he was 20-something with a bunch of listings. And I was like, okay, you're doing good. But they hadn't closed. So again, he's stressed because he's like, man, this ain't working.
Yeah.
And so me and him spent almost 2 hours we literally was walking outside to leave. We spent 2 hours just talking about my truck, about real estate. So we built a bond, a relationship, a friendship. And maybe 2 years later, we had '08 that happened. Busted out, the market got ugly. I had just started my own company. It was Brooks Star Properties. And Michael had his own team that he was working a few buildings over from mine. Me and him was just having a conversation about how the industry was collapsing because no one's buying houses. Everything is just looking really, really bad. Me and Michael had a conversation. I was like, look, your lease is up. I got this space I just acquired, man. Come over here and split these bills. So for 1 year, 12, you know, but you know what the beauty of it, when ain't nobody making money, you can identify the trait of a human being, right? You can identify somebody that'll be in a fire, be in the barn, cooking, you know, whatever it is with you. And so for 12 months, me and him split the bills, and I had an opportunity to see his DNA. Meaning he would get to the office early, I got to the office, we would anoint the door, pray for success throughout our business. And at the end of that 12 months, and the lease was up, I was like, look, what you doing? What you want to do? Well, let's do Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. And 14 years later, you know what I mean?
So, of course, I know y'all have struggles and successes as a partner. Because it comes with being individuals. You know? No two individuals exactly the same. What would you say, like, the struggles y'all have seen over the last, you know, almost, of course, more than a decade, almost 20 years now, to where y'all are at now that, you know, you would want to kind of shine light on, and so anybody who may be thinking about following your footsteps know it's not just from 0 to 100 of, you know, 100% success. Like, what were some of the struggles you know you went through one or several times. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is the ability to trust but not be naive, right? Like people got to put in their work. So I think one of the challenges that you're gonna find in this in any industry, in any business, is that the checks might not always flow the way that they need to. So you've got to have a relationship with responsibility. I've always, my grandmother taught me responsibility, so I knew not to blow through cash. So I've always been a saver. I am a saver.
It's gonna be on the episode. We're gonna have another episode on that.
Man, because the thing is that for me, that was the blessing when the market did go bad for 2 years. Like I wasn't, my lifestyle didn't miss a beat, but it's because I was a saver. So I think that when you are looking at a partnership, both of y'all can't run through class and have big dreams and visions. Somebody, y'all gotta alternate it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes Mike got an amazing vision. Then my vision might be like, let me taper that down. I don't think that's quite where we need to be.
Yeah.
And then sometimes my vision might be off the charts. Like, look, let's do this here. We need to be in Atlanta because we licensed in Atlanta as well, and we got a few more offices throughout Houston and in Austin. So in the beginning, I was just like, let's go everywhere. And then Mike was like, nah, let's build here. Let's do this. And so those steps allowed us to be in these markets now and be successful in them versus being stressed out in them.
And what are like the struggles you think of the entry level realtor coming in for most parts? That they go through, but they may not know they get ready to go through.
Finances. Right, like you've got to be. I think as a new realtor, you got to be conscious of your finances. Yeah. So don't feel like you need to go in and do a lot of marketing. It's a lot of sweat equity in the beginning as a new realtor, meaning that you literally need to get unless you have a husband or a wife that's a doctor, because then they could fund your marketing activities. Then you can pick a community and send them a bunch of mail outs for a year in order to get business. But if that's not your story, how about you get 5,000 flyers printed out and you go door to door and you put them out? Me and Michael did that when the economy tanked in real estate. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, me and Michael would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, grab some flyers, and go and stick them on people's doors in $500,000 communities that we needed to be in. All we needed was one.
Do you think it's still relevant to this day, that same type of guerrilla marketing, or not so?
I think it's more challenging. You have to combine it with something, right? So if I was doing that kind of, when I do, because I still do it, right? Because like that's my way of doing cardio too. Like I'll walk through. Yeah. I tell people all the time, multitask. If I'm gonna be doing cardio anyway, I might as well be going door to door, putting out information or putting out flyers somewhere, right? And so I think that now I double up on it though. And so what that looks like is, because I know how to run social media ads, I'm going to hit a community or hit a zip code, then I'm going to backdoor and hit all of them phones with this social media. So when they get it on their door, it's going to be like, oh, I just got this on my phone. Like I seen this flyer pass through my phone on my Instagram or whatever. Because if you got a phone, it's targeting, it's ads that you can use to target people. Yeah. So I might target a whole zip code or target a community. So now they're gonna be like, oh, it must be meant for me to call him because I got his flyer on my door or on my car, and now I also got him on my phone. So it's just different ways to make sure that your activities work.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. Yeah, so finances, that's usually the main thing.
Yeah, finances is a big deal.
$6.95 to get in the game.
Yeah.
About the average person, about 30 days if they really work hard.
If they work hard, yeah. And you could see 30 to 45 days, you can see if this is something that's for you. Yeah. But you got to do it blind with you got to do it blindly. You just got to work. And I say you want to definitely join a brokerage firm. You don't want a brokerage firm where you're not paying no fees. You got to get into this industry and pay to learn somebody's information. Yeah. A lot of times what we do as a culture, we feel like because we're so passionate or driven that we ain't got to pay for the game. Yeah, the game is made to be paid for. It ain't. I'm not getting it away for free. Straight up, yeah. Right? But once I give it to you, you can do whatever you want to with it. You can knock it out the ballpark. Yep. But I think that you should compensate the people that's going to give you this knowledge that's going to change your life.
And that's a good thing with the topic too, because now you hear a lot about getting in the room with the right people. People are paying for these masterminds, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and up.
Yeah.
Do you think that's worth it?
If you got the finances, it's worth it, right? It and you got to know how to work the room though. Don't be a fly on the wall. You got to come in that position with the right question. And so it's kind of crazy because this is one of the things that Master P said that changed his game in the music industry, right? Master P said he's borrowed $25,000 to sit down for an hour with Michael Jackson's business manager. And what that did for Master P, he said, look, when you get ready to organize, when you get ready to go to this company or when you get ready to go to one of the industry giants and ask for something, don't let them put you in one of these quote unquote 360 deals. All you want is publishing. He talked them through it. So when Master P blew up in the game is because he spent $25,000 to ask the right question to the right person. So you could be in these rooms because I've went to tons of conferences because if I want to go out and network and meet some people that's on fire, I need to be. But I know the questions to ask too.
Yeah.
So do I think it's valuable? I think it is. But you need to go in there on a mission. You know, you got a lot of people that's gonna charge you, but they're not giving you every step, right?
Yeah.
Give me the steps. Don't give me don't give me one gym and then try to alley hoop me into something else. Don't string me along. If I'm spending that kind of money, give me your network, right? Like a lot of times I tell people, when you come into Brooks and Davis, you get my network too, right? Like I'm gonna allow you to meet my friends. I want you, if you want to hang out with me and socialize with me, you want to be at the podcast studio with me, come on. Like I want you to meet my people that you can have access to them. So that's, you don't only get me, but you get access to the people that are around me. And I think that's the most important thing. When you spend that kind of money to be in a room, I need you to introduce me to Grant Cardone if that's one of your guys, right? You know what I mean? So like we need that kind of, if I'm spending that money, I need your network.
Man, you wrote a book yet on the questions to ask them when you get in the room?
Oh yeah, I do, man. It's called Entrepreneur Code. Yes, indeed.
I'm reading that book next because I think that's why I'm on it, man. I say that because honestly, yeah, you're right. Even me, kind of just freshly getting into the realm, getting into the rooms with these people, network. I'm an introvert by nature. We don't always know the questions to ask and make it still seem organic.
Yeah.
Because it can seem like, oh, I'm just coming at this person just because I want something.
Yeah.
But again, I think, how do you feel about that from the network perspective? You're a great networker. You've been like, I've noticed that about your personality for the last, since I've known you. How do you feel when it comes to getting in a room and asking these set questions that you have? What's the book called again?
Entrepreneur Code.
Entrepreneur Code. Like about using these questions. Do you feel that you have to just go about it that way, or do you have to add your own personality to? How do you feel?
You do have to ask questions, and here's the thing nowadays, because in the beginning you weren't taught not to go in and ask people for something. Well, hey, how you do this, or what can you do? Like you weren't taught that. You just did it. That's just how you built a business. But now, because you have so many platforms and so many people saying, don't approach people with give me. Like, how give me this, give me that. Don't do that, right? So like now you might have to change the direction in which you approach someone. You may have to change. If this is somebody, now if you spending money with them, then you can ask them a question directly. It ain't no sugarcoating it. Like if I'm breaking bread with you, tell me, Donnie, information. You know what I mean? Like that's easy. But if I'm trying to get into influenced by somebody or ask a question of somebody that I'm not spending money with currently, maybe I just can't afford it, right? I'm coming with acts of service. Everyone always needs somebody to volunteer.
Yeah.
Or it may be I want to be a part of what they got going on, so I may share social media posts and tag them in it, right? These are things that's going to allow to see that you're a giver first, because you want to come off as a giver anyway, right? We don't do this thing because we want to take from somebody. If we had all of the right people around us, then we wouldn't need to build our relationships. But a lot of times in order for us to grow, we got to overextend ourselves or figure out how to ask those questions. So I say you most definitely got to lead with giving, and you just got to figure out the way what someone may need. And a lot of times people don't need nothing, but they don't want to feel like you taking advantage of them. So you might have to go up to them and approach them and buy a book, buy a t-shirt, take a picture with them. Hey, how can I follow up with you? Like you really got to do those small things in order to do it.
Yeah. Let me ask you. So 10 years from now, where do you want to see yourself?
People always, when I was growing up, people talked about retirement. Ain't in no rush to do no retirement. But don't be doing what I'm doing right now, enjoying life, right? If I decide that I want to fly out somewhere, I fly out there. All right. If I want to spend a week on a beach, a month on a beach, I spend a month or a week on a beach. I don't want to live there. I don't need to relocate there. So I see myself 10 years from now probably owning being a silent partner in a few more businesses. Because the real secret to success and wealth is having your money work for you, right? Not going out there finding new ways to hustle and get money, but to have your money being your vehicle that's tripling up, doubling up itself. So I find myself in the next 10 years probably owning a lot more businesses, being quiet about it, because I don't want to go and preach everything, but I want to finance other people's visions. And so being a principal or a quiet investor in other people's visions is what I see me doing. But as far as life and being a part active in my real estate company, yeah, I don't plan on stopping any of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm liking it. I'm enjoying life. Like I don't have the stresses of thinking I need to exit this.
Yeah.
I'm already where I want to be at.
You love your passion. You love what you do is passionate.
Yeah.
It's different. It's like, man,
So my 10 years, 20 years is gonna look exactly like this,
That's
man.
dope.
Just
So what's the purpose of Pure Hustle? I see you got the shirt. The
Yo.
hat. I gotta know. I always like to know the mission, the vision behind the.
Yeah. So Pure Hustle for me, and this really touched home because one of my best friends growing up owns a t-shirt shop out in the southeast area of Houston, MLK, right off of MLK, the block that I grew up on. One day he and I was talking, and I was busy moving and shaking, travel. I think I don't know where I was coming from, but I was in several places in 1 week. And we just was laughing about this pure hustle about it. I'd always been, my entire life I've been called a hustler because if you ever, it was not a negative connotation though, right? Like it was always, man, you got this passion about you. And now I think that what has happened is we've taken this pure hustle, which embodies the nonprofit, it embodies the books, it embodies the real estate of everything that I have. And the pure hustle brand itself is we've changed it from being a negative connotation to being something super positive. And so it's not like the grind. I believe in the grind. I remember those, but I think you graduate from the grind to where you're putting in more pure, solid, trustworthy hustle. Because the grind is exactly what it do. You get tired at some point and you need to either replace where you are in that position and then level up. So pure hustle, the purity of it is the positive energy that we got behind it. The hustle of it is just to continue to build out new businesses, new brands, new opportunities.
I like this. I like how you distinguish because I ain't never even thought about that. How grind is different from hustle.
Grind is different, man. Because grind will do exactly that. It'll grind you down till you're tired.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that you can't do that in the beginning. You got to have sleepless nights in the beginning. These people that want 8 hours worth of sleep, I get it, but I don't get it. You know what I mean? It's hard because you really think about it. If I'm someone and I live in like LA time zone sucks. And here's why I say that, because they get started 2 hours later than everybody else, man. Like, you playing catch up your whole day. So you got to find a way to get quality sleep, but maybe not 8 every day. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So, I mean, now backtracking to the hustle side.
Yeah.
So it started with one stream of income. How many now does Larry have? You can kind of guesstimate.
If I'm guesstimating, I probably have about 7 to 8, and that's not including real estate, right?
Yeah.
So like I invest in a lot of private projects that take place in the city of Houston, Atlanta area, a lot of private developments that's taking place. I'll use finances to do that, but I don't really count that. That's like that's like long term. That's money that I don't even really consider retirement money. That's just wealth. That's for trust money for future generations in my family.
Yeah, because the reason I asked that question is because, when the pandemic hit, a lot of entrepreneurs got hit hard. I'm pretty sure the real estate, I may or may have not getting industry.
We had challenges too.
Yeah, and then now we quote unquote went through a recession or whatever, so the ups and downs of that. It's like, so you being a mentor to a lot of people in the industry, it's like, that's critical, I think, right? And I think a lot of people now, we think, having more than one source is needed, but like what you is more so that source branched off of the other, that baseline foundation income of real estate, and you kind of stay within your market, or was it just like totally different? Like,
great question.
Never would have thought.
So because I do believe that when people say different sources of income, it don't have to be 7 different, right? Like it could be within the same industry, right? Like, so I could go from being a realtor to writing a book about buying a property, or I can write a book about selling a property. And here's what happens, or I can just do a lot of speaking engagements, get paid $2,000-$3,000 to go and speak to somebody about real estate, my experiences through real estate, what I think the real estate market is going to look like. These are all opportunities and platforms that present themselves. You can take your monies and put it to work for you, right? You put it in stock markets, you might put it in small real estate transactions. You may start to get on YouTube and monetize your podcast. We have the Prime Real Estate Network podcast that's monetized through YouTube. So, when we bring on brands and sponsorship, those people stay with you in perpetuity. So, you're able to sell your product, letting them know, look, I'm going to be with you forever. You're going to be a part of my platform forever. I don't ever plan on stopping this stream. So there's so many different ways. But again, all those still tie back into entrepreneurship or for me, or teaching and coaching other people to be successful business owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, because we talk about hustle, we talk about, the streams of income, now especially people think, oh man, instead of being a serial entrepreneur, which I think a lot of us are when you just had that gene, you can easily find yourself in so many different hats.
Yeah.
But it's like, is it sometimes better, according to Larry, from what you've seen, just with your history, like to branch off the foundation of your income, or to, like you said, dive into totally different streams of income where you may have never thought.
I don't recommend it unless, because the thing is as you get more seasoned, the less time you have to really educate yourself on something. But if my brother came to me and he had a vision on something that he spent 2 years studying or 2 years doing, then I'll probably get into that industry. If it's the trucking industry, one of my sisters is in trucking. I look forward to in a year or so being in the trucking industry because of that, right? Because she's going to be savvy enough and I'll be in the industry. I'll be a quiet partner. I know business, so I'll be able to, help us structure it the way that it needs to be structured, but I'll be a quiet partner in it. And so I think that getting into those type of industries is okay if you have a trusted partner. But as an entrepreneur, if I'm just going to go out and just recreate a whole new vehicle by myself, I'm not going to do that. I don't want I enjoy not having to have a backpack on and look for files in order to answer people's questions. No, Kyle Jess. Shout out to Jess. Shout out to Shay. They at my office, at the real estate office. They make my life easier.
We all got those people.
Like, yes.
Shout out to Jazz and Kelly over there for me. That's who we're going there for the podcast. But
sir.
So man, before I could go on for hours talking. We definitely going to get you back on here because I could definitely. There's some things you said that piqued my interest. I want more people to learn about, which I know you have too. But just thinking about it, like you mentioned wealth, and I think that's what I created this podcast for. His Healthy Habits, holistic health and wealth, and the knowledge of wealth and self, I believe, are a habit that we need to develop not only as men, as minorities, as Black people, just people in general. And how important do you feel the knowledge or the attainment of wealth is to you?
It's very attainable, and here's the secret sauce that I think a lot of times we oversee because we look at the visual and the aesthetics of nice automobiles, nice houses. The fastest way to wealth is to have less overhead, right? Like, so the challenge that I think a lot of people get is that we get into this mind frame and we feel like, okay, I'm making $100,000 a year. I'm gonna spend 120 because they're gonna give me credit for $120,000 worth of items. Don't do that. Right? The quickest way to get to wealth is to have less overhead. So don't just blow a bunch of cash. Like one of my problems, and I was telling this to a friend the other day, I want some new flip-flops, but there's nothing wrong with the flip-flops that I have. Right? Like I can't imagine having 17 different pair of flip-flops. And I'm using something simple like that. Like, but I am like that. Like I can't find something wrong with them. Like I gotta donate them or give them away in order for me to purchase another item. But I think that has allowed me to get to less struggles a lot quicker because I'm not willing just to blow cash off of because of this is one that I always hear people talk about. They'll send you these 25% off something, right? Like Macy's may send you some 25% off. A lot of people feel like if they get a coupon like that, they have to go and buy something. I don't. If I see it and I don't need it, I don't. Like at the end of the day, if I need a suit, I'm gonna go buy a suit. I may spend a little extra money because I'm not using a discount because I'm buying it when I need it. But it's like you buy the things that you need. And I know it's difficult to have that conversation with someone that's super young, right? When I was like that. When I was a kid, I got a Hummer. When I first started getting real estate money, I got a Range Rover. I got all of the things that were overhead costs that if I had to go back and do all over, I still do it. I'm just saying. But I've learned now that I would find a vehicle that was making enough money to pay for itself, right? Like I wanted to be able to create something to pay for itself. So wealth it's obtainable, but the ways to get to wealth are things that we were not privy to, like understanding that regardless of how hard you're working, your money has to be the one doing the work. If your money is not working for you, wealth is not obtainable. These people are getting to wealth status because their money is going out and doubling up for them. And I think it's I'm gonna send you the name of the book because it's skipping my mind right now. But everyone needs to read this book, and it literally talks about you taking your money that you may make and then making your money work for you. Like that's the only way to get through it.
Right now, look at
it. I'm gonna bring it up, man, because I'm gonna give it to you in the link, and I need it. It's not the Babylon, maybe the richest man in Babylon. I think it was the richest man in Babylon. So that's a book
somewhere in here. Yeah, I got it.
Richest man in Babylon, because it talks about him, not being a borrower and finding a way to get to it. Now I'll have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But I say that just to say wealth is obtainable. And it can come quicker than you think it can, as long as you choose a high income, find a vehicle or a business or a job or a career or an occupation that's going to be high income earning. Real estate is high income earning.
Yeah.
You don't have a cap. You can get into this thing, have a few sleepless nights, make a few $100,000 a year, learn how to save that money or invest it into other real estate projects that people may have going out that's paying you 20-30%. You look up, then you got money working for you, and you got a boatload of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening now. A lot of people that are successful in real estate, they may do an investment flip that takes them 6 months, but they may walk away with $50,000. They're gonna take that same money and flip it again. So that's how you get to it. You just got to make your money work for you, though.
And I think when you talk about that too, now we hear, if you pay attention and you're in these type of rooms or you follow these type of platforms on social media and stuff like that, that land is the quickest way to obtain wealth. Do you feel that's true?
Yeah, ownership isn't. I don't know. Yes, it's hard for me to argue with it, right? And it's not even just the ideal of land. It's nowadays, we used to hear the word regentification. Us as colored folks, we hated that word, right? Because it was our communities that were being taken advantage of. But here's what's happening. Our people that look like us now are the ones that are now acquiring this land, acquiring these properties, and acquiring the equity that's coming along with it. So I'm excited about it. So now it's not as bad as it used to look, because what would happen is people that didn't look like with us come in our communities, buy our communities up, and price us out of the community. Now we've got our finances to places which, shout out to President Obama, when he was in, he legalized, it's something basically it's a crowdfunding, which allows regular individuals to put $250 in with another 250 people, enough money in order to go out and acquire real estate, then everybody break it down. Like that was something that we used to couldn't do at one point. You had to net or have $1 million worth of equity or make over $250,000 before when you couldn't get into these investment transactions like that. So now that has allowed us to be able to come together, crowdfund together, and then go out and do small projects together, and everybody get a piece of the pie. Your piece of the pie add up. Instead, you may be able to put $1,000 in this time. Next time, you $5,000, $10,000. So, those are the things that I see people using their money to work with when it comes to real estate now. So land is important because you can hold land, and land will improve for you at some point, right? You may buy land and then just improve itself just because of the area. Especially like in a place like Houston, you get a lot in Houston. Someone that acquired a lot, I remember when we first started talking about gentrification was in 06, and it was in 3rd Ward. Yeah. Out there about a spot and all this stuff, just for those people down in Houston. That's the area that we were talking about. If you'd bought a slab of land for $10,000 and you would have held on to it into 2021, 2022, you would have spent that $10,000 would have turned into $300,000 to almost $500,000 just for the land. Just for the land. That's all I'm saying. So acquiring land, just holding on to it, it's a good thing too. Yeah.
And I'm hearing now a lot because they had the memes and stuff that you see that show things, tips quickly. Like they're saying like multi-purpose units are the way to go.
Like, it's a new cheat code. Well, not cheat code. I would just say that it's called house hacking, right? So now one of the things that we are blessed with in the Texas environment, especially Houston, is that you can, instead of buying one house, buy a duplex, right? Live on one side of it, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, nice. Live on one side of it and then rent out the other side to the equivalent of whatever your mortgage note is. So now you're staying for free, and you're acquiring equity. Or you may take it, I know some people that they live in one side of it, and then they do Airbnb, arbitrage on the other side of it, and they're able to take that money, and instead of making, them $2,000 a month or helping them pay their mortgage $2,000 a month, they may be making $3,000 to $6,000 a month, depending on the location of it. So house hacking is called house hacking. You most definitely want to get in that space.
4-5 more episodes. I'm gonna owe you 4-5 on yours, man, because I got quick. You were piquing my interest. I'm pretty sure anybody who watches this episode,
no doubt about it,
will be grateful too, man. Last question, man. I mean, like when you done a lot, man. To me, as much as from how I followed you, and I'm pretty much a whole lot more than I probably know too.
Well, before you ask the question, I need you to understand we've been friends a long time, man. I've watched you to grow, and the one thing about entrepreneurship that's so beautiful, when you look like us is you had an opportunity to see people at the foundation. I've had an opportunity in this space to see people start something, build something, and become amazing. So as the people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people that follow this podcast know you, but for the ones that don't, you have no idea who I am sitting with. Just understand this man has changed lives.
Man.
And so I just got to give you that plug, man,
Yeah,
because I've seen it. I know people that's here in the Houston market know and see it, but the world needs to know and see the things that you and your team have done.
Man, I appreciate that. You know, that's the goal. That's always been my goal in life. And my father always made that the purpose. He reminded me daily, you are here to redeem the world back to the Creator, you know. And I think that was something he like hammered in me.
Yeah.
And he said, if you're not doing that, then what you here for?
Wow.
And so, and I say that to say, you know, like, I have the other businesses that are doing that, changing many lives on a daily, monthly, yearly basis, and more thousands of lives, you know, especially from the female perspective. But that's why I started His Healthy Habits.
No doubt about it.
Because I wanted to transition and see how I could use the same energy and affect, you know, now men's and male lives in a positive way by connecting with like-minded men and women too. Like this podcast is not just like I said, for men, we're going to connect and build. But the foundation, I ain't gonna lie, I want people to know this for Houston.
Like,
you know,
no doubt about it.
I love Atlanta. I love New York. They got their thing. But it's time for us.
Hey man, we doing that thing.
We got a lot of slept on potential. You know that people.
It's so funny, man, because I've been to so many conferences. In Houston, we win all of the awards. That with the Houston Area Urban League, National Sales Network, you name it, we walk in there and we big up it easily. And then I think because our culture, we really trust and participate in our culture and building each other up. Like it's very difficult for someone that looks like us to come into the Houston market and not find a way to be successful. If they're honest and trustworthy, we believe in supporting our people. Like we're gonna give you 2 or 3 chances in order to get this thing right. So yeah,
man, I'm telling you, you've been an inspiration for me and there's so many people. And I think honestly, from what I've seen over the years, just your authenticity, and how you match that with your professionalism.
I appreciate
you
that.
know, your hustle, just your integrity.
I appreciate
you know,
it,
just as a man within the game and everything that you're doing. You know, you never came off as anybody other than as who you were, and even just watching from a social media perspective, knowing you personally, knowing the people that I know you. And that's one thing, you know, I loved about it. It's an honor to have you here in the early stages of this.
That's what's up, bro. I
and
appreciate
just
it.
to pivot this, man, and I just want to thank you for your time. And
No doubt.
now the last question, man. When Larry leaves when you leave this earth, what legacy you want to leave?
You know what? The most important legacy to me, and this is not me being selfish, but I do want to see my family be a family that people look up to. You know, the challenging thing with being an African American in this world, a lot of times our name has been so deplenished. Like what people don't get is that you could be a Trump and go somewhere and get free stuff wherever you go. Somebody's gonna open up doors and bless you just because that's your last name. So the thing is I want to leave a legacy with my family to where they got generations that they could look back and they could say, Papa Daddy, Papa Brooks, whatever nickname they want to give me, right? That he left a legacy that has distinguished our family. He took us from obscurity of poverty, where, you know, we trying to figure it out just enough to put enough food on the table, to where, you know, we mention our names, people open up doors, we're able to cut checks. We got his name, we got foundations. I want my name to be, or my grandparents love my grandmother's name to be foundations, like many I want to pay for people. I want to pay for kids to go to college. I want my legacy needs to be that, like when it ring out, I want to be a part of just a lot of giving, a lot of giving. But I want my family to take a large part of that too. But I want a lot of giving.
Hey man, I manifest that. That's gonna happen, man. I love to see what you're doing or how you come. Man, honestly, like you said, we are talking about 10 years from now. You're gonna be still living this good life, doing what you love, living in your passion. That's what I love, man. This is, I love connecting with people who find a passion. You know, sometimes we stumble upon it, like myself. You know, and take that passion and convert it into a purpose of, you know, changing and helping people's lives, and then not only that, just profiting them, getting them paycheck, getting that PayPal deposit off of it. You know,
come on, man, bling bling. I like that number. I just hear some ring. Was that my phone? Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely gonna have you back on here, man. Let me ask you this: if you could say anybody I should connect with here in Houston, who do you think would be somebody I could bring on here and would give information and inspiration, or one or the other that should be here?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. So I would say you've already had my brother Chris Green on here. He's an amazing guy.
First episode.
I would say I got another brother, man. I say his name is Prez D. I went to Stephen F. Austin with Prez D. He's one of the founders of Exotic Pop. Man, Prez D is a giver, man. Like his energy, you know, his energy and his flow he's a giver. He was one of the first people him and his brother, Mike White, had made a video about real estate before I even know in detail what it was when it came to investment piece. So I would say Prez D with Exotic Pop is somebody most definitely need to get on the show.
Prez D. I got most of them, write that down.
Yeah.
And for the other, like, people maybe watching this who know you, who do you want to thank? Like who? Who?
I'm gonna keep the list short.
Yeah.
I want to say, but I most definitely want to say the things that allow my day to move smoothly is Jessica Joseph, LaShavia Dean. These are people that are a part of the real estate brokerage firm that make us look amazing on a daily basis. Shout out to my business partner, my frat brother, the Prime Real Estate Network buddy, Ricardo Davis. I've known him years, generations.
That's who you do the podcast with.
Yeah,
right?
I do podcasts with, man. And so these people allow my life to be easier. They don't. These people also play such an impactful role in me being able to just be free. To come on a Tuesday in the middle of the day and just come hang out with my friend and have a conversation on his podcast. So these are the people that really play a role in that. And of course, Michael G. Davis, that guy. Davis. Don't say the Davis without saying the G. Michael G. Davis, my business partner in Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. His vision, his expertise, his systems, you know. I love him. That's my brother, man. I wouldn't be in the industry. I always tell people I probably would have left real estate if I didn't have that, if I hadn't met that guy and just kind of really had that mentor, because mentoring wasn't a big deal back in the days, but to have a partner that can be a mentor as well as somebody you can coach with and throw ideas off of on a daily basis. It's daily. It's unspoken. So I'd like to shout out to those people, man. I appreciate and love them.
You said some great names. Even Chris, like I said, Chris is my mentor, my brother. This wouldn't be here. I told Chris this podcast wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't be talking to the man himself, everyone for Christmas.
And let me get one more plug. Mean Green Family. So I go to the 6 a.m. class, so I don't have one particular person, but the whole family, bro. Y'all help me stay healthy enough to do what it is I need to do. So that's a big part of life, right? Like, you know, I can't think or be conscious with the activities that I have to participate in an active day without saying shout out to my physical team that put me in the right headspace and body space. So shout out to those guys. Man,
that's what you just said. That's what His Healthy Habits is about: holistic health, professional health, financial health, mental health, emotional health, financial health, and more. And just that true transparency. You know, I feel like that's what I love, and you've been super transparent. One more thing, you got to show this book though.
The reason
I want you to show this book is I want to put the book, but I also want to show how you can see the change in this man's face. He look younger. He looked 20 years younger. And when you write that book.
I know, right? This one came out in 2017, man. Life was good at that time. So that's that good smile right there. Life is amazing now. So this is good. This is amazing. Entrepreneur Code, man. My name is .com, so LarryWBrooks.com. You can see everything I'm involved with, all my speaking engagements, other opportunities that I'll be out shaking hands and kissing babies, as they say.
I look forward to growing and bringing you more. And thank you so much.
No doubt, man.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.